I've been researching serial killers and the like because my friend is making a horror channel and I want to help him out on the research. And this test keep on popping up over and over again. So it seems to be at least better than the average BuzzFeed test if they're using it in actual serious locations like a courtroom. So I wanted to basically try it out and see how much of a psychopath that I am. Now, full disclaimer, hold on, why the fuck do I have the headset on? I'm not taking off the jacket though, it's Canada, I'm sorry. If you are a psychopath, it doesn't mean that you're insane, it doesn't mean that you're a killer. There's a nature versus nurture kind of thing that goes on about whenever this is mentioned, but without going too personal into my life and the lives of my family, there's a lot of mental illness around this place, and some very serious ones, but because of the environment that it is in, you wouldn't even know that there is mental illness. Some of my members of my family are mentally ill. And to give a more broad example that's more relatable to more people, or something very serious that can seriously mess them up and make them act completely different and crazy, if they actually have the right steps in place, they will not go out and killing people and be a danger to society and all of that. So that's basically the argument. And I believe that the care that you put into somebody is more important than the way that they are born. So if you score high on this test, or if you are a psychopath, then you shouldn't really be worried about it, because it's not like you're going to become a murderer. And also, that's assuming this is 100% accurate. This is a upgraded BuzzFeed test, but it still is a BuzzFeed test, pretty much. I forgot to mention the fact that this is supposed to be administered by somebody else, because if you ask yourself questions, you're going to be more forgiving. For example, am I a pathological liar? There's no way to answer that without the world exploding, basically, and other stuff like that. Someone asks you if you are caring, you would say you are, even if the people around you wouldn't agree with it. So, another heaping load of salt, alright? I'm not a psychopath if this goes wrong. I think this is out of like 30 or 40 or something. And there is a scale that doesn't apply, applies partially, don't know, applies very well. So it's 0, 1 to 2, there's 21 questions, so it's out of 40. And if you get something, I think it's above it's either above half or above 30, you kind of got problems. Any serial killers that you could think of has taken this test, and some of them have gotten 38, 36. Question 2 of 21. I have often tricked, conned, and or manipulated people. Okay, hear me out for a second. If I feel like I have wronged people in the past, it does stick with me in the brain. For example, I was gonna try to come up with a memory, but I literally cannot remember the last time I did this, so. I lack realistic long-term goals, i.e., am either drifting through life or chasing grandiose schemes that often fail to plan out. Okay, so this one hits a bit too close to home. I mean, I'm doing YouTube, trying to do YouTube, so say of that what you will. And I did have a first channel that did blow up for a bit and then stopped, and I just stopped giving a shit about it. So I do want to be a YouTuber for a living. I'm not sure if that's gonna happen anytime soon, but I do think it will happen at some point. So that's kind of a hard thing to assess if it's realistic or not. However, I mean, this content is shit, especially on this channel. And I have given up on my main channel, so I have at some point in my life been given a mild reprimand, a warning by the authorities on the condition that I did not repeat my offense, yet nevertheless ended up repeating the same offense anyway. Okay, so I guess this goes back into times that I've broken the law. I have not broken the law many times that I can remember. There was a time where I almost got put away for something that I didn't do, like just straight up didn't do. I was sitting outside of my elementary school because I was hanging out with my friend, and we were both on our phones because, I mean, what else are you gonna do when you hang out with somebody? And the police car pulls up and says, "Did you graffiti at school?" Which we said no, because even if we did or didn't, why would we say yes? But we actually just didn't, we just showed up. And he said, 2 kids matching your description. have graffitied the school recently when we got a call, and he basically just asked us a bunch of questions, decided that we were innocent, and then let us go. But we didn't get reprimanded or anything for that. I almost got caught stealing, because back in grade 8, I don't know if you noticed, but people do not have that much money. And I never got caught, but I have been searched even the 2 times I didn't steal stuff. I went to a store in a mall, and we were just kind of walking around seeing what we had. We had our backpacks on because we're in school, and they decided, hey, no. So they searched us thoroughly, took out all of our bags, emptied our stuff at the cashier line, by the way, when we're about to buy something. And then they didn't find anything stolen, because how would they even know it's stolen because they haven't even paid for it yet? And just sent us off pretty much. The second time I went to a 7-Eleven, and I did steal stuff, but let me explain. So, I went to 7-Eleven, and we stole like a couple candy bars. I didn't steal anything personally. And this is at lunch break, so there's a bunch of people inside the store. We take the bathroom key, because one of us has to go to the bathroom. We go in. The guy's like, yo, why did you go into the washroom? You have stolen something. Search your own bags. And then if I find that it's satisfactory, I can let you go. So, obviously, we don't take out the stuff that we stole. We go into the pockets that have nothing in it, basically. And then he decides to let us go. So, nothing happened of it, but I did feel really bad about it. I remember I called my mom after the fact and was crying on the phone. No. No. The habit of blaming others for my own problems and generally do not accept responsibility for my own actions. This is the type of question I was talking about. When someone else would ask me this, I would say no. And then they would assess if that was true or not. But to myself, this doesn't seem correct. However, it probably is. So I'm going to say, I don't know. Have an easy or unconstrained social style. Well, I don't know what that means, but I'm just going to say it doesn't apply. A pathological liar. Yeah, that's the thing I was talking about before. More when I was a kid, I would leave little lies for no reason. And these days, when I lie, it's usually to get someone to try something out. Apex Legends or something, I'll say that there's this like massive event where they're giving like a whole bunch of free stuff, and you know, there's like 200 guns and stuff like that, even though there isn't. About anything serious, and I haven't done that in a while. And that was only when I was a kid, so no. I display a lack of remorse or guilt. Well, I remember I told my mom that her poncho made her look like a homeless person. And that was in grade 5, and I still feel bad about that today. So, I wouldn't think so. However, there was a period in my time when I was 16 where there was a bunch of people around me doing messed up things, and I feel like that might have lulled me to guilt. But I still feel absolutely terrible and think everything over I say multiple times after the fact. So, this is not correct. I generally evade responsibility and do not answer to anyone in my life. Once again, very hard question. I don't think that this is true. I mean, I think that pretty much everything is my fault in my head, which I know is not healthy, but that is how I think, so I don't think it applies at all. I'm overly impulsive. Yep. I will look at my bills, because I look at my bank statement, I'm like, whoa, where the fuck did the money go? And then I'll look back, and there'll be like $1,000 missing off of like skip the dishes or something. So, yeah, probably. I have poor behavioral controls and find it hard to keep my impulses in check. Oh shit, I just realized it did not apply. Oh my god. Okay, well, it's the same question. Applies very well. I've broken many types of laws, i.e. my law breaking is not restricted to any single domain such as sexual, financial, or similar. I have not broken the law. Besides stealing. That was it. And that was like 2 times, okay? A history of exhibiting cruelty to others. My friends do, but I wouldn't say so, no. I've had many serious romantic relationships that have fallen apart after a short amount of time. I assume when it says serious relationships, it doesn't mean high school relationships that only last a couple months and you both know is kind of bullshit and you're both just kind of wanting to get something out of it that isn't exactly romantic. So, no. I did have one long-term relationship, but it was a long-term relationship that lasted 1 year and it ended due to circumstances that I can't talk about without making this a really long video. This does not apply. I live like a parasite on others. Example, by borrowing money, I'll never pay back, clinically exploiting others for favors, etc. I do live at my parents' house, so probably, but I do pay for everything that I buy. I pay rent, I pay hydro, internet, cable, food, everything. This would only apply recently because I was really poor recently, and I did pretty much have to leech off people, but I always pay back my debts, so no, this doesn't apply. I have a history of juvenile delinquency over crime. Like I said, I stole a couple times, so yeah, it applies. I have a history of promiscuous sexual behavior. I don't think so. I have an excessive need for stimulation and am prone to boredom. Yes, ever since I was a kid I played video games, so it's kind of destroyed my brain. I'm the type of guy to have a video game open, a stream open, and listen to Spotify while being in a Discord call. And I also lie in bed watching videos until I physically cannot stay up anymore. Probably a reason why I can't fall asleep now I think about it. But yeah, I have to constantly be stimulated. I have a grandiose sense of self-worth. No, I don't. Like, to be honest, I feel like I could do things if I put my mind to it, but I feel like I lack the will to do it, which honestly doesn't mean I have a grandiose sense of self-worth. I am extremely anxious and have social anxiety, and everything is my fault. So, no. I've been characterized by shallow emotional responses. See, sometimes I will miss social cues and I will say the wrong things, but I don't think I've ever really done this to a degree that people would say I'm characterized by it. However, just because of those couple times, I will say it applies partially. I am callous or lack empathy. No. It's not even with, no. Alright, finish. The person you attempted to rate is... What the fuck? I am 13.5 more psychopathic than the average person. Somehow. So, let's see. Explanation of factors. Yes, please explain. Psychological interpersonal style denotes selfishness, callousness, and the remorseless use of others. People high in this trait are characterized by shallow emotional lives, superficial charm, manipulativeness, and lack of empathy. That doesn't describe me at all, but I guess I just answered the questions wrong, because I did. Psychopathic lifestyle indicates a tendency towards chronically unstable, antisocial, and social deviant lifestyles. Elements of this style include sensation-seeking irresponsibilities, inability to hold a normal job, and or the inability to maintain non-dysfunctional relationships. I think this is 100% correct, which it probably shouldn't be. But I think the relationships I have are fine, but everything else that applies. So, yeah, okay. Overt antisocial behaviors include reactive anger, criminality, and a lack of impulse control. The likelihood is low that people who rate high in this dimension will mend their ways. Not true. Total psychopathy denotes the person's total psychopathy score. Individuals in the 75-100% range consider a psychopath on the psychopathy checklist. Individuals with scores below 75% are not. So, I am 13.5% more of a psychopath than the average person. However, I'm not a psychopath to the point where it matters. And also, I did mess up some of the questions and did over-answer some of the questions. So, how do I say this without convincing people that I am a psychopath? I'm not a psychopath, alright? I don't think I am. And some of these explanations are complete whack. So, like I was saying, do not take these seriously. Tell me what you scored down in the comments. Subscribe, I guess, even though I'm not going to do stuff like this in the future. So, but subscribe, because it'll make me feel better. And have yourself a damn good one.